All right, more knives. So it's February. I told myself I am going to work on knife stuff this month, so I'll try to make some knife videos. I am not a YouTuber. I'm putting this up on YouTube, but I am not paid via YouTube or whatever. Everything I've got has been purchased by myself. Nobody's sending me anything. So just getting all that out of the way. And so something happened with Mora recently, which I thought was interesting, and I'll put a link to another video I just saw on this where this popped up. All right, so I was watching a video on Moraknives. I'll put it up there by a gentleman from Mora. A video about 6 years ago, and what I'm getting at here is if this will focus, you can see I have always sharpened my Moras as if they are true scandi grinds. So a single bevel leading all the way to the edge. And here I'm talking about the cheap Moras, the whatever this is, craft liner. This is the carbon model. I think they come in stainless too. 546, 511. I don't know, just the cheaper ones, not the Garberg. Is my point on this. So these have the little rat tail in there. And the gentleman who was on the video said that all their knives come with a small secondary bevel. And at first, that kind of took me by surprise because I have never sharpened them that way. It makes sense, and I'll get to that because I've never been able, I can come up with an edge that's really sharp, but it's never as durable as the original factory edge. Now, with that said, I thought I had a stainless one that I had in a tackle box that I thought was a Mora, but it turns out it's like a knockoff. It's a mossy oak. And when I heard secondary bevel, and I've heard that throughout the years that Moras have a secondary bevel, I had always thought back to this knife that I erroneously thought was a Mora, because you can see it's got about a millimeter. Man, this knife is beat up, but you can see it's got a very obvious secondary bevel on that. And so every time I've heard that for the past 5, 6 years, secondary bevel, I thought of this knife thinking this was truly a Mora. You can see mossy oak. And I've thought of that obvious secondary bevel. So this guy goes on to say that it's naked. The secondary bevel that they put on is for strength. It's naked to the eye. You need a microscope, and it's about 1/10 of a millimeter or smaller. So I don't know, that really surprised me, caught me off guard. Anyway, so I was looking at it, like I said, because I thought of this. So then I went out and I grabbed a Mora that I think I had not sharpened yet. This thing is beat up, but I don't think it's been sharpened. But it looks to me, with my old eyes, again, like a scandi, right? Like at least it does from here. So give me a sec. I'm going to pull it up on the microscope. This is a carbon Mora. This is the one that I've sharpened myself. Carbon, obviously, and you can see I've sharpened it like a true scandi. It just goes, single bevel all the way to the end. Very obvious there's no micro bevel or anything. You can see how the edge is all chewed up and everything. Obviously needs some work, but so that's what's happened to it over time. Then there's also what I'll call the fake Mora, which is just a knife, similarly shaped knife with an obvious secondary bevel. You can see where the first bevel starts, and then you can see just the blatantly obvious first bevel on there, right? First and second bevel. Then, what I'm hoping to illustrate, and what I hope comes through here, is you can also see, so now this is the factory Mora see it's the Mora without ever being sharpened, used but not sharpened in there. I don't know if you can tell. Yeah, you can kind of tell, but see, that is not just the single bevel. Look at the very edge. It looks better on the screen than it does on on this thing. But man, there is just a very tiny, tiny, tiny secondary bevel. You can see the way the light catches it on there on these Moras from the factory. So obviously that's not something you're going to duplicate yourself. But if you're fighting with how to get these edges back to the same durability or whatever you want to say. This is scratched, but if you're trying to get it back to the same durability as it came from the factory, you're not going to be able to get that same angle on there. And so I'll try to link that video and you can see exactly what the guy says from Mora, but that made a ton of sense to me, and it just better off knowing. Maybe I'm the last one to know, but thought it was interesting. Okay, thanks all. Bye.